everyone's now a guru or some influencer of something. And it's just like, hey, it's really interesting the people who just do the stuff and how much you can get done just by taking that first and second step sometimes. Like that's some of the big stuff.
Hey everyone, my name is Pete Ferrari. Welcome to the SuperSelf Podcast Series. Today we have got Ben Bressington with us. Ben is a former Fortune 1000 consultant and the founder of Bare Remedy. It's going to be an interesting story. I'm delighted to hear about it today because he was actually facing burnout in the corporate world, and he decided to go back to his behavioral design roots and found the company that is really based in medicinal mushrooms and other adaptogenic protocols. So we're going to learn a lot about that today, and what I'm most intrigued by is the 500-year-old extraction process. You know, there's a lot of noise in the mushroom market, a lot of fragmented players. Everybody claims to have the silver bullet. We're going to probably hear about a silver bullet today, and I'm excited about that. And, you know, Ben's mission is simple. He wants to help people reclaim their vitality, find their resiliency, refocus, and love life. So, Ben, welcome aboard, my friend. I'm anxious to speak with you today.
Oh, you've set a high standard, Pete, and I'm sitting there going, well, it's like, wow, like that's a high bar to meet in the first intro, so well done.
Well, I tell you what, you earned it, my friend, and for everybody watching, you can see this man is so dedicated behind him. He's actually at his farm right now. So he's not in the office resting on his laurels. He's out on the farm, and we've had we're mushroom dust, and we've had to clear the dust and all that good stuff. So we're ready to rock today, and I'm just excited as hell.
Yeah, so and one of the big things is I wanted to really create a company, but more of a culture where it's all action first. We're not talking about stuff. We're not talking strategy and debating that, because when I was in the corporate world, having meetings about setting meeting agendas was the stuff that I would rather go get a root canal and than experience. And I'm like, man, if I'm building a company, like I want us to do stuff and like let's learn through just banging our head through the wall, because everyone's now a guru or some influencer of something. And it's just like, hey, it's really interesting the people who just do the stuff and how much you can get done just by taking that first and second step sometimes. Like that's some of the big stuff.
It's just jump, right? I'm actually writing a book right now that the title of it is Just Jump. You'd be amazed at what you can do if you stop analysis paralysis and you stop hyper fixating on what could go wrong and you just make a move. And, you know, to your point, I think Boston Consulting Group calls big companies PowerPoint parking lots. Yeah. You basically, everything's a big gigantic PowerPoint. Nothing ever fucking gets done. And that's why I've gotten into that's why I've been an entrepreneur since I'm 22 years old. I saw it early on. Number one, I hate taking orders. But number two, it was hurry up and wait, hurry up and wait, hurry up and wait. Now you're out on the farm, you're acting, you've got this culture around you. I'm sure all your people around you've got the authority to do what they've got to do. And it's a different environment. So I've got to hear though, how did you go from the Fortune 1000 consultant in the business world to be literally becoming the medicine man? It's got to be a cool story.
Yeah, well, I think it's a story a lot of people relate to. So I was one of the entrepreneurs. I thought that, you know, having the 20 different companies made me a successful business owner, when all it did is probably make me lose all of my hair. And the stress and the chaos of like always pursuing that shiny object, that shiny bullet. It's funny now that most of the stuff we now do is mushroom and dirt optimization, right? Like it's just like applying science to growing stuff actually is simplicity, and less is more is actually way more powerful. But it's kind of the complete flip, but there's more joy from that. And there's a lot of lessons that I learned in that process. And it all comes from burnout, business failures, having the 3-5 companies that were doing okay, but were never doing great. Right. And I thought that I always just had to keep having these things when it was my final stage of burnout was when I scaled the company to $150 million. And it was I literally took a tax company, and in 9 months, we took them from 250 grand of files processed to over $150 million, completely automated the process. I took what 80 accountants were doing from analyzing a process and literally completely automated it so the computers could do it in less than a minute and a half. And like that meant I had to learn more about the tax code than I wanted to. And then it was literally funny because I literally funded this business. I was going through working with these people, funding their tech, running their tech at this last point of my life. And then they were meant to do a $2 million payout on Friday. And like after I'd spent it was about 7 months, 20-hour days, completely burnt out, you're just going through that stage of getting through the suck to like really scale out, right? And then this is where we scaled, because as soon as I started turning on the systems and everything was flowing, $150 million in tax credits got processed in less than a month, right? So it's just like, boom. And then I'm like, all right, great. I'm going to take a few days off just to decompress, all right? And I'm like, so I'm here in Rogers, Arkansas, and I was going over to Colorado for the week just to relax with some friends, disconnect, get some mountain time, all this type of stuff, right? And then I start heading off, and on a Wednesday, a buddy calls me because you don't have your spotty service up in the mountains, right? And we were kind of camping out, just kind of really disconnecting. And he goes, "Did you see the email that just got sent?" I'm like, "What email? What do you mean?" And the business partners had taken it on themselves to fire me, so they didn't have to, in their mind, then they didn't have to pay out the $2 million payout on Friday. And I was like, what? Come again? So then the whole trip turns into a colossal shit show, because then you're all stressed about this, and then I just continue to disconnect, and you go, you know what? I think this is a blessing in disguise. But at the time it was traumatic because I literally put my heart and soul and I funded tech. I did all the stuff, right? They even fired me and then were still running the business off my servers, my tech, my team, my everything. And then they literally hired an independent contractor to literally copy everything I did. Just rip it all off.
So that's, it's funny because when I think about the times that I've been close to burnout, there's on the other end of it is almost always some scumbag who tried to do something to me or get over on me. It's just you fight the good fight, you work as hard as you can, 20 hours a day, like you said, it's sucking the energy and the life out of you, and then someone who you've been doing it all for kicks you right in the nuts. Yeah, it's crazy.
And then you find out a whole bunch of the other business stuff that's going on, right? And you're like, oh my God, I wasn't aware. I wasn't aware of them paying them $60,000 salaries, not paying affiliates their sales commissions, not paying. I'm like, how is this? The more money flowing in isn't actually going to save you, because you're literally defrauding people, and going out to steak lunches at $2,000 a lunch. I'm like, dude, that's not even money for that shouldn't be lunch money. It's so it's when you get through that, it's a tough process. And every time I put my heart into something, even when I was consulting to these Fortune 50 companies, Fortune 10 companies, big med tech companies, all based, they're usually all, their head offices are all based out of Sweden or Amsterdam or somewhere there. And they some of my largest client had 100,000 employees, and we were talking about deploying AI automation. And their board at one point literally told me, we don't want to deploy AI. We just want to get through this. I'm like, you right now are in that number 2 position as a medical drug company around the world. You're an $80 billion company. And I'm like, he goes, yeah, we got 3 years before we retire. I just want to be able to retire. I'm like, dude, in the next 3 years, you may become company number 50 or be wiped out. Having no AI strategy is not a strategy. That's a death sentence in your business. And after 6 months of these conversations and evidence and verification and PowerPoint presentations on just crap, they allocated $1 billion AI development budget and realized that, yeah, they need to do AI. I'm like, how can you be med tech yet have no AI automation? Having 100,000 employees wasn't, in my mind, a strength of the company, and particularly the way they were running these employees and all this type of stuff. So it was very fascinating, and you get emotionally involved in these projects, and it's like a piece of your soul. And stepping away from some of that stuff was really, it's hard, because as an entrepreneur, as you know, it's your identity.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And your energy becomes reliant on other people and the people that you're working towards and you're working for and you're working with, and live by the team, die by the team, and the people that you're representing. It all goes a long way towards that. And it's funny because being burnt out is just basically a big energy suck. But now you've kind of dovetailed it. You made a 180, and now your business is revitalizing energy. And so before we jump into mushrooms, let's talk about that, because obviously you're an expert. You've got to have encyclopedic knowledge. Tell us about, generally speaking, what it takes to stabilize energy nowadays. Just keep your fucking wits about you so that you can then approach something like medicinal mushrooms in good health with good intentions and really get the most benefit from it. Yeah.
So I had to learn a lot about this. Like, I would call myself a caffeine whore. Like, so my day usually had like I would go to Costco when I had my beach office in Florida, right? I would buy a slab of Monster energy drinks at Costco. There was 24 of them. And we were buying a slab every 2 days. So I was drinking 6 Monster energy drinks a day, plus we had an espresso machine. So I was drinking espresso shots. And people were like, oh my God, that's a lot. I'm like, well, ask most people how many energy drinks they really drink. Not what they tell their doctor they're drinking, but like you actually see that every time they walk into the gas station or whatever, they're like, most people are at 2 to 4. Like, this is the math, right? Let alone they're like, well, I don't do that. I go to Starbucks. I have a caramel frappuccino. I'm like, okay, great. So you're fueling yourself with sugar. You think you're fueling yourself, and like people are like, oh yeah, I have 2 of these a day. Okay, you're having 2,000 calories of sugary crap, and you're like, yeah, but I love the taste of the coffee. I'm like, no, you don't. Like, no, you don't. Like, so like. One of the things I really had to understand is like how we're fueling ourselves. And one of the big things that really hit me was the actions I'm taking now as a short-term gratification for that debt I'm actually incurring. And burnout is a sign of the debt that you have stockpiled. Sometimes, for some of us, it's months of stress, months of anxiety, months of just poor sleep. Like tell me most entrepreneurs who are getting a full 8 hours of sleep and not just, you go to bed for whatever, you're on your phone, you're death scrolling, you wake up not refreshed or energized. You wake up like, crap, man, like, wow, like I don't even know what REM looks like.
Man, I went to LA Monday morning on business. I flew to LA. I'm in Florida. You know that trip because it sounds like you had an office in Florida. I flew to LA Monday morning. I had meetings all day Tuesday. I got home from LA at 8:30 last night. You know what it takes to wind down from an all-day trip like that. Couldn't do it. Woke up wide awake at 2:30 a.m. Was like, fuck it. Went to my desk. I've been at my desk ever since in my office. It's exactly what you said, and every day is Groundhog Day. Next week, I'm going to do the same damn dance with Dallas. And a week after that, I'm going to do the same damn dance with Austin. And then Chicago. It's the same dance. And it's hard to maintain energy levels because it's like I wake up and I'm already tired, man. And I wake up that way. And so stabilizing my energy is something that's critical. And to the extent that I could do something healthily, your point about sugar and caffeine is spot on, right? It's funny because people don't get it, but caffeine is better than sugar. If you're going to do something, those people with the 2 frappuccinos, that's like 2 weeks of sugar in 2 drinks. And they're doing 2 a day. They wonder why they gain 15 pounds. They wonder why they're cranky all the time. Sugar high, sugar crash, lethargy, can't sleep. So,
let alone the stomach issues and the the intestinal issues, and now all these people, and now they're stacking the GLP-1s and all the stuff, which is now hormone stabilizations and roller coasters. Like, there is a debt. So it's just like, and it took me a while to get this. I actually heard it. I think from the Diary of a CEO. It's just like, everything's got a compromise. You just have to choose how you want to compromise. And like that, it starts with the food we eat. Like, energy really starts with that and that point. And I think that's exactly what you're talking about. And like, dude, waking up tired seems to be the hustler's creed, that like the entrepreneur's creed, when I actually think it's actually a sign of complete bullshit and you're out of alignment, because waking up tired because you have burnt yourself out with exhaustion because you are like playing hard is totally different.
Yes.
And it's almost restorative to like
yes.
Like, God damn, I got to do this shit again today.
Man, you're 100% right. Like, so traveling, the non-restorative sleep is what I got last night because the travel is so debilitating. So I'm going to be off for a couple of days there. There are other mornings when I power through a great day and I get a ton done, and it's not the travel component. I'm able to control my diet better, right? I'm in an airport, not in an airport. Those are the days when I'm tired, legitimately tired, authentically, and I sleep like a rock. Get up the next morning. I'm still a little tired, but I feel it's just a totally different feeling. It's exactly what you said.
You've probably right now got that brain fog, right? And that brain fog may feel like a cloud, or your eyes may be a little grainy. Like it's just like it just because I say brain fog to some people, and oh no, they don't have it. I'm like, well, all right, well, but do you kind of have a pressure around your eyes, a tension? Like maybe recall is not as clean as it is. Maybe you're just not being as crystal clear with your words, or maybe you know what, you're like, God, like it's that you're like that you're reacting as more of a frustration rather than like, okay, like let's work through this.
You're spot on, brother. I mean, you talk about a cloud. I'm looking through. Hey, you look like Brad Pitt right now, brother. I'm going through a fog. So, but you're 100% right. And my fuse is shorter. I get frustrated more easily. So it's something where, thank God I think tomorrow's Friday. I get to catch up this weekend. I'll probably sleep all weekend and then get ready for Monday. Now I got to hear, this is such a great segue into how mushrooms now can help us find that homeostasis. I'm a huge advocate of plant-based medicine, psilocybin therapy, really at exceptional levels. We had Heather Lee on this program, who is pretty much the badass in this country. She's got a wellness center that focuses on psilocybin retreats. So this stuff is really important to me, fascinating to me, and I can't wait to learn about this aspect of that world.
And there's two sides to mushrooms. Most people think of the trippy psychedelic mushrooms, psilocybin, which like is honestly fantastic. Like if you're dealing with depression, all that type of stuff, I know it's one of the things that literally saved my life. And even microdosing that type of stuff is phenomenal, but like it all comes with risks. And you have to be aware of the hill you want to die on. So what I'm talking about is more on the holistic side. So they're completely legal. All the ones you've heard before, you see at the farmers markets, the lion's mane, the turkey tail, the reishi, shiitake, all of those type of things. I got into mushrooms in the holistic side because like dude, if there was a new caffeine source, I was all over it. And what's funny now is everything I do now literally has no caffeine, no sugar in it. And how that changes and adapts your body is actually quite phenomenal, because like it actually takes a few days, because what you don't realize is you're detoxing the crap you're dealing. Like I love that people go, oh yeah, I just have 3 coffees a day or 2 coffees a day, blah, 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 but they put the creamer in it. And I'm like, dude, have you actually looked at the crap? Like you are literally putting gasoline into your coffee, and then you wonder why you're sluggish. It's like when I got into making a supplement, I didn't realize the 100 different ways I get told I can compromise, to the point that you can go to the labs nowadays, and one of the questions the engineers will ask you is, how do you want your product to test?
To test?
To test. And they're asking you that question because they're like, well, we can have a completely 100% thin synthetic product, like gasoline-based, like completely cut to shit product. Test as it's 100% organic, natural, and do these things. So this is the first round of, well, how do you want this thing to test? And I'm like, and I had to learn about this. I'm like, what do you mean? And that's why now there's like all these fillers and cutters. Like most people aren't aware that there's been testing done for some time that on most of the capsule products in the industry, and specifically mushroom related products, how much do you think they contain fillers? I'll put that at, you're a smart man, Pete. How much do you think they contain fillers?
Oh, that's a good question. I hope there's not a lot of fillers, but I also know most people are crooked. So the shit on the market, probably a lot of fillers, right?
Yeah. So some of the leading brands in the US
have the most fillers in them, I bet, right?
42% sawdust.
Sawdust?
Sawdust. So now, so you're having a supplement, right? And it's literally sawdust as the filler.
That is really enlightening. And you're saying they could have 42% sawdust and it could still be tested as 100% organic, depending upon what you want to pay the lab?
Oh, let's talk about 100% organic, right? That's a racket in itself. And the thing is as soon as you use the words proprietary blend, right? Do you know the legal compliance of what FDA approved is and all this type of stuff for a proprietary blend?
Zero, right? You don't need FDA approval on a proprietary blend, do you?
Well, you don't need FDA approval at all. So FDA approval actually doesn't mean much. It just means you're paying off a bigger group of people, which really is what's going on. Any product can have FDA approval. It costs around $2 to $3 million to actually get a rubber stamp, right? It's a game and it's a racket. But based on all these websites, right? If you've got a proprietary blend, you've only got to have 2% of your source product being that product, and 98% of your proprietary blend can literally be filler. You could be literally selling cow dung as part of your product, right? And this is the game because it's so commercialized, right? So capitalized, it's a money game. This happens in every industry. It happens in the I'm a dog lover. I have no kids, right? So my dogs are my babies, right? And the thing is that you find a great, healthy dog product, and then you see that company get bought out. And then what happens is they change all of the ingredients to some type of glycerin or plastic, right? But they're allowed to do it because it's got 2% of its original source ingredient, right? So then the thing is when you talk about mushrooms, there's a whole bunch of research coming out right now, which is really terrible research, but it's for pure capitalization because it's saying so I'll explain it to you this way. And most people have heard of the word mycelium and they've heard of fruiting body, but they really, really don't mean what that means, right? When we talk about that, let's talk about it as a banana tree, right? I've got bananas. I'm selling you bananas, right? But you're interested in my bananas. And I say, okay, Pete, I've got two options for you, right? Because you're just putting it in a smoothie, right? So it's really not going to matter, right? And this is how they always start it, right? There's this one. So I can sell you the banana fruit, right? It's going to be $10 a banana, right? Because it's nice, plump bananas. Or I've got another option. Are you interested in that other option, Pete?
Uh-oh.
That other option is literally saying, well, what we've done is we've taken the banana. So we take the banana tree and we cut off all the fruit because you don't want the fruit. The benefits aren't in the fruit. What we do is we now take the banana tree and we pulverize it into a powder. And that's literally the mycelium because the mycelium is the roots of the mushroom. And I can sell you this pulverized banana tree. It's still going to taste like banana if you add the banana flavoring to it, right? Because it's literally what grew the banana. So it's got to be like the spinach, right? It's got to be the powerful stuff, right? So we can sell that to you at 50 cents a pound. And if you're just putting it into your smoothie, why do you care? It's the same thing, right? Now you're getting bananas. So, and this is what's happening. Well, it's happening with everything, but it's happening in the world of mushrooms. You've got fruiting mushrooms, fruiting body mushrooms, which is literally the stuff that's exposed out of the ground, the expensive part. There's not much of it. Or there's the mycelium, which is usually in the fruiting body bag, in the sawdust, in the rice or the soy hulls or whatever they're using to grow the mushrooms, and they literally cook it and pulverize that into a paste or a powder.
Is there any way to know that if you're not how can a normal person like me figure that out, right? So I'll read a label. Tell us, is there a way that do you need a secret decoder ring? How do we look through the bullshit to get to you?
Yeah, so I'm going to tell you the decoder ring, and here it is, really, really simple. So you always want fruiting body, right? And but marketers get really, really clever, right? They go fruiting body proprietary blend. Like, asshole, boom, like that's a red flag right there, right? Because what they've said is that I'm using a lion's mane, but I've only got to use 2% of the lion's mane, and I'm going to use the rest of it as mycelium powder, right? So that's one of the things. And then the other real thing is people never talk about dosage or potency, right? Because they'll cite these amazing clinical trials that have happened. But what they don't tell you is in their entire bag of coffee, and like I'm not a mushroom coffee advocate because most of that stuff tastes like shit and ends up in the bottom of your cup, right? And I'm like, dude, life's too short for shitty wine, shitty coffee, shitty people. So the thing is like I would rather take the coffee I love, and coffee is so personal. You got people who love Folgers, people who love Dunkin's, people who love Starbucks, people who love the Italian espresso, whatever, right? Enjoy what you want to enjoy, but turn it into a superfood. And now you're getting true, like I can have you have your coffee and give you 8 hours of smooth, clean energy without crashing, without jitters, just by adding a dropper of this, right? So, but it's all because of dosage and potency, right? Because literally one dropper of our liquid is a clinical dose.
Interesting. So now we're getting to the nut cutting here. I like that. So it's one clinical dose, and all the other people are not going to be talking about that?
No, they're going to be citing the clinical trials, but you ask them, well, what's the dosage or the potency of your stuff? And they go, oh, you'd actually have to have 15 cups of our powder to even have one dose. I'm like, how, and like it's label math. Right now you have to go. So actually, you say you got a 30-day supply if I'm taking just one dropper a day. But like that one dropper a day actually isn't the dosage I need to be taking to actually experience the results. And now when you start cutting or compromising the product, so now I'm not even getting the good quality stuff. I'm getting the mycelium base. Like I'd have to drink 5 gallons of this stuff to even feel a brain fart. So like it doesn't, like they confuse people with math. So can I expose one last secret? And this is the final decoder ring. Does that make sense? So, and like, I'm like, mushrooms are phenomenal. Like you go to certain parts of the world, they will treat you holistically before they ever give you a pharmaceutical. There is a place and a time for pharmaceuticals. I'm not pharmaceutical slapping. But when you bring a lot of money into this, it changes the game. And I wanted to build the company around one simple promise: no fillers, all power. Like, so that meant the best quality process, the best quality products. It's not cheap, but you feel our products in 5 to 10 minutes. Like most people have never felt what lion's mane feels like or what clean energy actually feels like in their life, because like you just can't have that much product. So here, let me explain. So now let's talk about tinctures and how people make this stuff. I didn't know any of this stuff, and I thought I knew all this stuff. All right, we use what they call spagyric extraction. Spagyric. It's an ancient form of extraction. To make one batch of these takes anywhere between 8 to 12 weeks. Right? It's like brewing wine or beer, right? There's a whole process, and I'm going to walk you through what this actually means. So if you're ever looking for any supplement, just make sure it's spagyric based, because now you're talking about dosage and potency you will feel. So there's water-based extractions. I had to apply this analogy before people really got it. You say, oh, water-based extraction. People are like, oh, sounds fancy, tubes and stuff and scientific stuff in a lab. No. Have you ever boiled noodles on your stove?
Billion times.
Yep. You've just had a water-based extraction. So you boiled the noodles in the stove, in the pot. You know the water you dump down the sink? That's a water-based extraction, Pete.
Yes,
now when you say that to people, they're like, holy shit. Like,
yep.
Like, what? Like, no. It makes it sound fancy when it's just like it's a 5-day slow boil water extraction where we heat it and cool it and heat it and cool it. So how would your noodles look after 5 days? So, and then, so that's something really interesting. So understand, and a water-based extraction, right? Yeah, you can get water-based extraction products for $20 a bottle because they can boil it and be done with it in an hour and literally have it in a bottle within an hour, right? So, but you've only got 5 to 10% bioavailability. Like your body will actually only absorb 5% out. And here's some of the secrets that only after recently talking to a whole bunch of research scientists said to me is like, did you know some of the benefits you need to get from mushrooms can only be extracted through an alcohol extraction because it's the alcohol-based extractions that pull out the fats, the oils, the terpenes, the salts, the minerals, like the goodness that you actually need. So the next one is alcohol-based extraction. So a lot of companies will do a water extraction, then an alcohol extraction, right? And then with the alcohol extraction, they're soaking the mushrooms in the alcohol because it just brings out a different layer of stuff. And then there's a whole world or there's a whole movement out there that's like, oh, we can't use alcohol-based extractions. Alcohol's bad. But I'm like, but it's the only way you're getting the nutrients you actually need to actually digest. So like if you're not using something with an alcohol-based extraction, you just got expensive urine. Like you don't even want the benefit, right? So, and then by doing a water-based and then a alcohol-based extraction, you take the bioavailability. So now we're talking about that potency, right? Up to around 30%, 25 to 30%, right? Then there's a one final stage that makes us spagyric. Spagyric takes the mushrooms we've taken through the water, then the alcohol, and then we go into what we do is we literally light them on fire. We turn them into white ash. And then we actually mix them back into the blend because then this gives us every fat, every mineral, every oil, every terpene. And this is the ancient forms of, they actually call it spagyric alchemy because this is how the old herbalists would create medicines in this process. Because and people say, like people who believe in the spiritual side of things, they go, this stuff feels alive. Yeah, it feels alive because you're literally getting every nutrient out of it. And now this is upwards of 90%. Some people cite 95%, 98% bioavailable. So you're now talking about some of the most potent clinical-based tinctures that exist because we focus on a priority extraction process that takes us 8 to 12 weeks to complete. And most companies will never spend that type of money on a core product. I'm like, I want to have a mushroom product I bloody well feel.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
I'll tell you why it makes sense, because I've been duped twice. The fact that you're talking about you only need to have 2% in order to call it the mushroom-based product, it struck a complete nerve with me because I've been duped twice. I bought a mushroom-based coffee. Tasted like shit, did nothing to me. I ended up dumping a half a cup of sugar in there. So my perspective was, okay, it's going to work because it's mushroom-based coffee. It tastes like mud. So I dumped a ton of sugar in there to sweeten it up, and still nothing happened. It was horrible. And then I bought a mushroom-based, I guess it would be called a carbonated beverage. It was like a soda.
Yep.
Again, it tasted horrible. It did nothing. So I was like, okay, this mushroom stuff this part of the business is full of shit. Now you've explained why that part of the business is full of shit. And that's the predominance of the industry, I'd imagine, because now you're talking about what you do with the 500-year extraction process, and it resonates and makes perfect sense to me. It explains why this happened to me. And so I've got a really keen interest in trying it again, because now I can do it right. One dropper is actually going to work. And that's what I've been interested in the entire time. That's why I bought it in the first place. And that shit was not, by the way, that stuff was not cheap.
Oh, no. And it's usually the marketing cost is expensive because like their product cost is costing them pennies. And like you can completely continue to compromise. And this is what the pharmaceutical industry is based on, or the supplement industry is based on. And I'm like, well, no, I want to build a culture around shit that works. And I don't need this to be a $100 billion company. Like, I need this to go make a difference in my life. I want to make a difference in a million people's lives every year and help them on their holistic health journey, right? So that requires me to have something that freaking works. I love sitting with people who go, this stuff sounds like snake oil. And I literally go, are you interested in trying? We're just sitting there having coffee. I go to events and stuff all the time. They're like, this stuff's snake oil. I've tried it. It tastes like shit. I've got 3 bags of mushroom coffee in the cabinet, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, totally get it. Do you just want to try? You're having coffee anyway. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? You're just going to go, that Ben guy, he's an asshole. Like, you may say that anyway. Like, so what, right? I'm like, or you're sitting there with brain fog right now, right? And I know you're going to reach for a second cup of coffee. What if I could just help you for the next 4 hours? Like, what if that was the possibility? And be like, they're always like, yeah, what I got to lose? So I make them a tincture. I usually go, okay, this one we have for energy. And here's something I didn't know. Like, being the caffeine whore I thought having 1,800 milligrams of caffeine was like, yeah. Complete freaking idiot. Because the thing is in our energy, there's no caffeine, no sugar. We have cordyceps. And cordyceps are used by Asian gold medal winners or marathon runners and all this type of stuff. It increases your VO2 max, which is the oxygen you get at a cellular level for the next 4 to 6 hours by 40%. They use this when they go into altitude. They use it when they're coming down from altitude. They use it to increase blood flow around your body. So now if you're breathing better and you're getting more air at a cellular level. But the other powerful thing that cordyceps do, cordyceps, unlike caffeine goes, hey, we got energy, and then you flop because it's faking the energy. It's crash. So I'm at the point where I can have an espresso, right? I can have an Italian Cuban coffee, and we all know that thing, or a Turkish coffee. Your spoon stands up in that crap, right? And literally, I can curl up and go to bed. I can go have a sleep under the table, right? Because it's not the caffeine. Cordyceps tell your body to manufacture energy for 4 to 6 hours. And the thing is it's clean energy. It's never energy that's going to have the heart going like this. We all know, any caffeine person has experienced that one sip too much, the heart starts flattering, you start feeling that little tension and the headache here. You might be like, oh, and then like we're trying to bounce between that zone of not too much, but get into that focused flow zone. But we all know that one sip too much and we're like, shit, that train has left the building and now my flow state ain't going to happen. Like, we all know it. So where the mushroom energy is clean. You don't have any of that. Your brain literally opens up. You start breathing better. We have redalia in this as well, which is a herb. So we mix our mushrooms with herbs to actually increase. And redalia is what the Vikings used to use to actually provide clarity and mental state, right? So when we mix our mushrooms and we have these performance blends that we do, so you've also got your the reishi and other things like that in these, which are phenomenal. So now you'll have clean energy for 4 to 6 hours. You add one dropper of this to your coffee, your espresso. You'll find that you may not even end up reaching for that second or third, or maybe the third and fourth. But what happens is you don't have the crash, and your flow state just executes. So we then also have lion's mane, which is usually what I add in for the people who need that brain fog elixir, because they're swamped. My lady's dealing with menopause, all of this type of stuff, the hormone roller coaster. We got a pure lion's mane. Now, when you have this, like, you feel your brain just open up. And you're like, man, I feel like I can get shit done. I'm in flow state, which is really, really powerful, right? So I can see you've already got questions, Pete.
I do. I'm so fascinated because I love the component and about having that 4 to 6 hours of energy without the come down, without the crash. And so it basically just fades off into the sunset after you use it. And then if you want to use it again, can you use it again? Like the same
100%,
day? Like,
you can use it again. Like, I usually take another dose at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Really? I try not to take the red bottle after 4 because then I'm going to be up until 10 and you're going to be laying in bed going, you know what, I think I might clean the garage. Yeah, let's go clean the garage. Like, it's just like you want to be aware, because if the body's producing energy, you also need to come down. And that's why I also have, we call our relief, which is our stress and anxiety one. And a lot more people are going into public environments and having stress and anxiety, and they're just anxious. Like, it's, and when you're anxious, you're setting your adrenals off, you're setting your stomach is like eating itself, you're starting, like, it causes a whole bunch of stuff. My guys with PTSD who take it before bed say they have the best night's sleep because I also added ashwagandha in it. And ashwagandha is phenomenal for recovery. So I've got so what's funny is just our lion's mane. A lot of parents have been coming to me lately and going, hey, I put a dose of this lion's mane and the relief. in with my kids' chocolate milk or their juice or whatever in the morning. And they're always asking for the mummy's special juice, right? Or dad's special juice. And what it's doing is it's help giving them clarity in their head, helping them get in their flow state, but also reducing their anxiety. Just like it's not like cannabis or CBD or any of this stuff. It's literally just a natural, it's a food.
So I'm going to take a leap here, but how about for ADHD for these kids so I'm, ADHD for me, the jury's out on whether or not that's actually something or it's just not, I had to be whipped into paying attention when I was a kid. They didn't say, do you have ADHD? My Italian grandmother just hit me with a wooden spoon, said,
yeah, well,
attention.
That was your focus thing, right? Like, it's just
my focus, right?
Yeah, it's just
I knew she was really, and so I'm wondering, tell me about, does this figure into that as well?
Phenomenal for people with ADHD or whatever, however many H's and D's you want to put into that equation or whatever, because now there's whatever. But for focus, and we actually tested this because I worked with a local candy company, and they're part of a community because their kid is on the spectrum, and they don't necessarily communicate very well either. And this is a huge problem because a lot more people are actually now being on the spectrum, or have got one of these ADHD derivatives. Yeah. And so we knew that this stuff worked, but the problem with this stuff is that it's very strong, very potent, and a lot of these kids, the texture, the taste, critical. Like they've got 5 foods, they've got 10 foods, and a lot of people are starting to be that way. So we created a hard candy where I literally put in each candy a dose of this. So now you could eat the candy and you're getting the dose throughout the day, and they're all candy fiends. One of these kids, after a while of taking it, his parents said, well, how do you feel? What's it like? And he used 2 main words to actually communicate what he was feeling. And he was like, quiet brain is what he was saying, is the words he communicated. And so this kid was able to communicate, it was like he eats this candy and his brain gets quiet. He eats the Skittles, which he loves the Skittles, and his brain is loud, is what he said, is what literally the words he used, right? So, and then I'm like, well, that's fascinating. But I had a guy who was he was 50 years age. He was a veteran. He had some hearing issues. And I gave him the candy and the dropper when we were at an event, because he was literally in the booth opposite me, and I could see he was struggling with anxiety and all this. He had all the stuff, right? I said, dude, you're willing to just try it. I know you've been looking at me for a day now. You've been hearing the stories, blah, blah, blah. You've been hearing me talk to people about this, and you've been hearing their results. And I could tell he was getting more and more curious. So it was on day 2. He's like, all right, I'll try it. And I was watching him at the booth, because we were just like you and me, directly opposite each other. And I noticed him. I'm like, man, he's had to sit down. I'm like, oh, shit. Have my mushrooms now interacted with something, and I'm now witnessing something for the first time. So I'm kind of sitting there watching. I'm just sitting him do this. And he did this for 15 minutes. And then I walked over and I'm like, dude, are you okay? He's like, yeah, I got panicked for a little minute, because my life is in an expo hall, you can hear all the noise. It comes it's all that white noise, right? It's just, it's just droning at you. We know what a coffee shop feels like. We know what a convention or an event feels like, stuff, right? He goes, my life is always like that. He goes, for the first time in my life, everything went quiet. And what scared the shit out of me, why I had to sit down, was for the first time in my life, I could actually focus and hear the conversations around me and literally bounce around the conversations of the people on the booth on the other side of me, the person over there, hearing people talk at your booth. He goes, I could literally focus in on. And he goes, actually hearing it was unsettling. And he goes, I now believe this stuff works, because my brain was able to do stuff it hasn't been able to do. And so he goes, I don't feel anxious with it anymore. I just feel a sense of calm. My body just feels a little bit more peaceful. It's not sedated. It's just a little bit more peaceful, right? And one of the other things that like a lot of women tell me at the event with their brain fogs and stuff like that, because we're a company where we'll do samples. I'm like, I won't sell it to you because I'm like, no, go try it. Go walk around for 30 minutes. If you don't feel nothing, don't bother. Don't even come back. Like, just tell us how you feel. Like, and like most mushroom companies will never do that
because nothing happens.
Yeah. But
they know nothing happens.
No, you've got to be taking it for at least 90 days, and then maybe longer. Maybe you've got to be on a double dose for like 6 months, and then it builds up in your body. You know what builds up is all the synthetic shit they've put in it. This shouldn't build up. This flushes out in 24 hours. No debt incurred in said body. Which some like when I look at financing people and all this, they're like, well, Ben, are you sure you want to do that? Because don't you want people addicted to your product? I'm like, no. I want them to be able to choose to take it, and I want them to choose powerfully when they need it. Or they're doing a travel day, they're double dosing, or maybe you're doing a travel day, so you're not having the energy stuff, you're actually having the anxiety and the brain clarity stuff to help you power through, and then you're preparing your body to settle. So when you land in your destination, you have our relief, for example, and then before you go to bed, you have it, because melatonin and stuff to me is just like, man, the hangover I have from that stuff is deadly.
It doesn't work. I tried melatonin and magnesium, all that crap to sleep. It doesn't work. It didn't do anything for me.
Because it's the wind down you actually need. You don't need it 30 minutes before bed. You need it 4 hours before you go to bed, and then how you wind down and how you have your body settle down. So so I was saying with some of the other ladies who go, the feedback they go is, and it took me a little while to get this one because I'm not that smart. And the ladies were like, yeah, it's like my brain fog lifted. It's like taking a pair of sunglasses off and putting on glasses. I'm like, what? Because I'm sitting there, like, I'm like, you don't have sunglasses. What do you mean it's like taking off sunglasses? What do you? I'm like, no, listen to what she's saying. It's like it was like she could see clearly, and that fog just lifts, and that's what's fascinating about this type of stuff, and that's how you can feel. And like, this is 15 minutes.
That's and so when we're talking about a dropper, can we put from a usage standpoint, we drop it in our coffee, we drop it in our smoothie, can we drop it under our tongue? Let's talk about the versatility of it and what we want to do.
Yeah, so what most people do, they just take one dropper full, right, and like
right under the tongue.
You do that right under the tongue because that's where it's just going to get in. It's going to in, but it's really strong because it has an alcohol punch. It has a water extraction. So this is really strong. Most people are like, ooh. Right. Some people tell me it's like a cinnamon, like a shot of vodka, shot of tequila, whatever it is. I'm like, because everything we're using is potent. And I'm like, well, because I had an option to cut this with more glycerin. And you cut it with glycerin to make it sweeter. You to dull it a little bit. I'm like, no, I don't want to put this in a bigger bottle for less. Like, I want to do that. So we're actually moving this in from bottles into single serve pouches and stuff like that, because people wanted to take it with them, so they wanted to travel. So if you're traveling today, you know you're going to be out, you can literally stick like a little gel pack in your pocket, and you can open it up when you're at the coffee shop at 2 or 3 o'clock. You don't have to worry about you got your whole bottle here and all this type of stuff. So what most people do is they actually just mix all of the droppers together, or however you're feeling, because now you're in control. You know, you might wake up and you're like, I don't want energy because I feel okay on energy today. Right? I'm just going to have my coffee, rah, rah, rah. But what I do want is I want the clarity, and I've got a whole bunch of shitty phone calls I've got to do, and like I'm going to be anxious. So I want the anxiety stuff, or I want our immunity boosting hormone stabilization one, which is phenomenal for anyone, because men or women, because like this even has our lion's mane and stuff in it, but it's designed to help on that roller coaster we all have every single day. And like if you can just remove the valleys and the highs from it, you just become more efficient. So some people only take one bottle. You now get to diagnose, what do I need today? Because today, how do I feel?
I love that. I'll tell you what's really interesting to me is the fact that, you know, a 30-day supply or whatever it is actually a 30-day supply. It's not a 2-day supply, right? These other ones say it's a 30-day supply, but you need to take 15 doses at once. So it's really only 2 days if you were going to try to use it. This is, I mean, you end up saving money. The product may cost a little more, but you end up saving money, and you actually get utility out of it.
So much money because you're not having to buy more of it. You're not burning through more of it. You're not burning through because you're having 3 cups, 4 cups, all this. So I learned a really valuable lesson over the last 12 months. I made a gummy, right? And I made a gummy. We called it our all-day energy gummy, right? So a lot of my competitors in this space were like, hey, let's give people 8 to 12 gummies in a pack, right? And the dosage was just to be shit anyway, right? So I'm like, no, I want to just have one gummy in the morning. And you'll feel it, that smooth, clear energy. So I literally took 2 of my bottles and we put it into gummy form. So you'd have 2 of these things and you felt really good. Like you just felt smooth, right? But the problem was people wanted to eat more of them. And they're like, well, I need to take like 10 of these. I'm like, no, you don't need, like, the thing is like supersizing everything isn't actually beneficial. And there's a whole bunch of research that a lot of the research scientists in the US around mushrooms or holistic medicines don't appreciate like they do in Europe. And it's all about the power of microdosing and how microdosing, like when I say microdosing, it's no different to a baby aspirin. But like you want to be microdosing some of this stuff for the extended benefits, not supersizing the stuff and like it doing that type of stuff. Does that make sense, Pete?
No, 100%. The microdosing world has really come on strong. I mean, people are microdosing ketamine, they're microdosing mushrooms. To your point, people with PTSD, it really has fundamentally changed a lot of lives for people that were really struggling. And so, the unfortunate part is there's a suppression campaign underway though when it comes to stuff like that, because the big food and beverage companies, the big supplement companies, they don't want any part of you guys. You're doing it right. You're doing.
Yeah, you know what the FDA is doing right now over the last few years? They're literally taking holistic products and they're banning them. So in the UK, they just banned Cordyceps and reishi. Reishi has been clinically shown in clinical trials. Reishi, the mushroom, has been clinically shown if you have it as part of your cancer treatment protocol, it'll double your life expectancy from 3 years to 5 to 8.
And they banned it?
And they banned it. And they banned Cordyceps. And they've just started doing the same thing here in the US, and they're banning the mushrooms. And you know how these bans get enforced?
Tell me.
They get enforced by your merchant account, your bank. Your bank comes knocking on your door and goes, hey, we're canceling your account. You're selling pseudo pharmaceuticals. Really? And I'm like, what? This happened to me 4 times last year with a product. We had a product, phenomenal mushroom product. And they're like, oh, yeah, no, the FDA ruled that this is a bad bug and it's terrible. Like, I had clients that this thing was changing their lives. There was nothing wrong with it. Nothing. Like 5,000 clients, never a charge back, no returns. Like, it was getting people off cannabis. It was helping people with inflammation because it was a mushroom that is one of the most phenomenal ones, like inflammation, sciatica, back pain, but also getting people into flow state and focusing. And the people who were having CBD or cannabis for pain or issues, but they didn't want that mental fatigue that they get. So this was an alternative. And like it happened 4 times, so they literally shut down our merchant accounts. And all this type of stuff. And this is how they're enforcing it here in the US. So they're making, and then when you look, I'm like, I pulled out all the research that they used to make these decisions. I'm like, where in God's green earth did you get this data? But it's clear that, yeah, it's how it's driven, if that makes sense.
It's corruption. It's just corruption. It's good old-fashioned corruption. That's all it is. The big companies are putting the squeeze on you through the banks. And the banks need the banks want the big company's business. You're the little guy. It's just classic capitalism in its worst form, and breaks my heart too, because you see that a lot of that's happening with peptides as well. Peptides they've come on strong, and RFK I think is trying to get 14 now currently approved, but they don't want any part of peptides in this country, because then you're not on pharmaceuticals and you're not going to doctors and you're not keeping the machine rolling, and that's the difficult part. Do you foresee them coming after any of your current products, or you think you're safe for a second here?
I think we're safe here in the US for right now with the current tincture line. However, like you never really know. Like banning Cordyceps, banning reishi is just completely ludicrous. Like, and so
Europe? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, I was saying, you had to actually pull back from certain countries. I had to pull back a whole bunch of our products in our warehouse that were all throughout Europe because of what was going over there on the reclassifications of things. So I'm like, yeah, so now we're just focused on the US. I know the US is really starting to clean up on some of the mushroom science, but what they're not doing is they're not cleaning up on the processing and extraction, because there are some mushrooms that it's really about the extraction process. So they ban the whole thing. And it's like, yeah, but you're now slapping 3,000 years of citizen research in history and historical medicine treatment because, yeah, some people did stupid stuff for money.
It's the way of the world, especially in America. And that's what breaks my heart. You know, you try to find good health and well-being, and there are these vehicles and tools out there, and you just get the rug yanked out from under you. It's so unfortunate. And it's, I mean, thank God we've got the internet too, right? You've got the ability to market this stuff through social media and the internet and touch people one-to-one. If you had to be running television commercials to get this stuff done, it's just like, you know, I sell a rare sugar that's actually good for you. It's a super sugar. You can't even, nobody even in this country even knows about it. If I had to be running TV commercials to help people learn, I'd still be in real estate development. It's not possible. You need $50 million, $100 million just to get started. Yep. And so that's the beauty of being able to communicate with folks on the internet. And that's, you got to tell everybody, well, how can we find you? How can we get this stuff? I'm for sure going to go in and order a bunch.
Yeah, so it's just bareremedy.net, BAREREMEDY. I wanted it just bare as in bare ass pure. Like it just, I wanted it naked and efficient. So it's bareremedy.net. You can call or text us or email us 7 days a week. Our team will answer your questions. I'll answer questions about your dosage. They'll answer questions on, hey, I'm dealing with this. And the stories we get back from people just is kind of mind blowing, because people are like, man, like it's helping me in these ways. And the big problem with mushrooms, unlike drugs, is they're an adaptogen. So they can work in several ways for your body, which is a good thing, but it's also a bad thing, because like it's more of a well-rounded solution, not this thing will do this, and then it's going to give you these 3 side effects, which is totally different.
That's the key part, the adaptive component of it, because, you know, it's the best word you can use is adaptive, as opposed to intrusive or offensive or invoking. It's adaptive. And that's, I mean, it's just a great start for anything when you know you're on the path to good health and well-being. And I'm super anxious to try it because, like you said, that brain fog thing, I mean, it's something that it's a shroud. And it'd be nice to be able to maneuver through it or maneuver around it or have it even dissipate. So it's good stuff. I'm anxious to try it. I'm probably going to do what you did, shoot it right under the tongue. I don't mind a little alcohol base. If it's alcohol extracted because that maximizes the benefit, who gives it? Then do it right. If you're going to do it right. Who gives a shit?
It's not a tequila shot. You're not going to get drunk off this type of stuff. Like people are like, oh, am I going to be walking around now high? Is this going to show up in a drug test? No. None of this is going to show up in a drug test. This is all food. Like I've got truck drivers, I've got pilots who use it, and they are so sensitive because, or nurses, stuff showing up in a drug test. Like, it was funny. My girlfriend was like, "Yeah, I use your stuff," and like she's this. If a skeptic exists, it would be this woman. And the thing is then she goes, "Oh yeah, I've been using this stuff for about 5 months now, and I haven't told you." I'm like, "Yeah, well, okay." So, and she goes, "Well." She does a lot of financial stuff, big spreadsheet stuff. And she goes, well, I found that if I have a shot of this before I sit down between those big spreadsheets and I'm getting into the spreadsheets and having to do the accounting and the numbers and why this won't balance, it actually makes me clear of thought and helps me focus. So she takes our pure line. And I'm like, you what now? I'm like, she goes, yeah, your stuff's actually really good. I'm like, oh, all right. I'm like, well, cool. That's the biggest testimonial I could ever have.
She didn't want you too cocky. That's a smart woman. She didn't want you too cocky, brother. She wanted to keep you right in that box.
She's like, no. Like, she's like, yeah, you got to get more people talking about this stuff. I'm like, yeah, it's one bottle at a time. It's one person at a time.
I'll tell you what, you need to write a book, or do you have any articles out there? I mean, or a podcast, because it's what you've said today is so fundamental and it makes so much sense. If more people knew this, they'd understand the difference between the propaganda and the misinformation and what is right and true. I mean, it's night and day what you've given me from an education level today, and super important. Yeah,
well, I appreciate it. We're always doing stuff. We do events all across the country. And this is the philosophy of our company. It was like I literally turned my entire company into a co-op. So I'm enabling distributors to carry, because this is very educational. It's very personal, because people sit there telling you every ailment they have. They'll tell you about their bowel movements, and it's about building relationship. And I wanted to like give back. I'm like, what's the point of having $100 million business if like I've got no one to leave it to? I have no children, not having kids. So like what is so it's just like, okay, I want to build it where the company is given to the people who are running our account managers, our territory managers, all this type of stuff. And then this is allowing us to step into growing our own foods. We'll be moving into that. And then we've even got a whole research lab that we're building out right now to do mushroom-based textiles and what they call mycoremediation, which is like we've developed a way to treat septic tanks and solutions, and we're getting approached by governments to literally help them deal with bio waste. Like we're actually creating through our lab, like leveraging the same technology and the same focus on doing it right.
Yeah.
Like the opportunities that are coming to us are actually quite phenomenal.
You really want to do good across the board. You don't want to just help people. You want to help the world. And that's a big, you can see it. It's resonant. I can see it in your eyes. It's resonant in your energy. And that's an important part, man. I want to buy from founders who believe in what they're doing. It's super important. And I can't thank you enough for teaching me today and teaching everybody. And I'd love to have you back and hear more when you get this other stuff cranking.
Hey, my pleasure. Thanks, Pete. And I can't wait to see how you think about the energy and how to help it on your travel.
Right now, I'm going to order. Right now. You'll see it come. You probably get it on your phone. You're going to see it come through.
Thanks, Pete.
All right, brother. Have a good one.
Okay, everyone. That brings to a close another episode of the SuperSelf Podcast Series, brought to you by Jocko Rare Sugar. Here, we are going to be helping you discover the truth for all things that surround good health and well-being. We'll be offering you statistical data, clinical trial information that has been evaluated and corroborated so that you can see for yourself that we say what we mean and we mean what we say. Now, while the SuperSelf series is brought to you technically by Jocko Rare Sugar, I don't care if you buy the sugar. I really don't. That's not what this is about. This is about operating as the conscience across the food and beverage industry, across the health and well-being industry, which includes supplements, fitness trainers, and the like. Our goal is to provide you with the stepping stones for your own research, where you can go out and corroborate the things that we say on your own. See for yourself what it means to find a good quality of life that fits in alongside your current lifestyle or your family's lifestyle. I think it's really going to be interesting and fascinating if we take this journey together. And once again, our goal is not just to provide you with data, but to keep it interesting. I've been living a clean lifestyle for 40 years now. I've been going to the gym for almost 45 years, eating clean for 40 years. And so we're going to have a ton of stories along the way about the foibles, the successes, and the failures, but we're also going to provide you with the information that you need to carry on and carry forward. Think about subscribing. We'd love it if you subscribe to us, pass this on to your friends. I think we've got a lot of edgy and interesting podcasts that are upcoming, and we certainly will look forward to any feedback that you want to provide. Until next time, cheers.